Yesterday's end point is today's starting point. So I will be heading this way, that way, south with a little bit of southwest thrown in. And my target for today is heading to Spandau, or at least a couple of miles south of Spandau. And it is just after 8:30 a.m. and today is the 13th of February. So there you have it. I'm logged in. I'm clocked in for day 3 of the Berlin Wall Trail. So, without further ado, we don't have a moment to lose. As you can see, the landscape has changed somewhat since yesterday, and we've had a bit of snow. Not too much of it. I would say half an inch, maybe an inch. Nothing that's going to slow me down, at least not in the urban areas, because they've already been out and scraped the pavements, salted the pavements. You know, the infrastructure here for this is pretty amazing, because we are in North Central Europe, so they do get quite a lot of snow. In my country, we don't get much snow, so for the couple of days per year that we might get some, there's just no point having the expense of that infrastructure. So when it does snow, it's absolute chaos, as you can imagine. -2 right now, so it's cold, but there's no wind. So I mean, I'm toasty warm. My equipment so far has been performing spectacularly. Really good, touch wood. Subject to change probably, but so far so good. Yeah, I have no complaints with any of my gear. I've got a little bit of a niggle with my toe. I don't know how this has happened, but on the first day when I was going through the airports and the like and all that stuff and rushing around, I felt like a pain in my big toe, and just probably just nothing really. Well, it seems that my toenail was cutting into the fleshy part of my big toe, i.e. an ingrowing toenail. So I have a bit of an ingrowing toenail. So it's a bit painful, but nothing major yet. As you know, you have a cut on your toe, you put a sock over the top of it and a Gore-Tex boot. Things can get a little bit hot and sweaty in there, and a little cut can become a bit of a mess quite quickly. So, you know, I've just got to keep a bit of an eye on that. Today's walk is about 18 miles, so still quite a big day, but Not as big as yesterday. I'm just leaving Hennigsdorf now, where I stayed the night in a budget hotel on the edge of town. Did exactly what it said on the tin. No complaints at all, really. I've got a couple of nicer hotels for the last couple of nights. I mean, what you do see a lot of in Germany is a lot of factories, a lot of heavy industry like this. You know, the German economy is a real economy. They actually make things and sell them. You know, unlike the UK economy, which used to be like this, but now it's mostly services with a little bit of industry still. You know, you can see the German mighty German economy. You can see it with your own eyes, practically. You know, it's there, it's everywhere. You can, especially in a place like this, which is clearly just an industrial town. You know, the modern equivalent of an industrial town. So, like what Bolton would have been in the UK, you know, Rochdale, Macclesfield, you know, all those, or Belper, where I was for Christmas. You know, just huge factories, and with a few little hamlets around them for the workers to live in. I noticed that Berlin was kind of running at 90% of its efficiency compared to 10 or 15 years earlier. And it is true that Germany is suffering a little bit. It's basically a bit stagnant at the moment. Essentially a recession, if you like, you know. You can fudge the numbers to make it look like you're not in one, but they are. And they have kind of maxed out in a few areas, I think. So what you're seeing is companies merging and joining forces to be able to take on the challenge of the new realities of a world where there is simply just less growth available to them. And of course, new technologies to compete with. Anyway. And then there's my country, my economy. I think if you look at the interest rate graph over the last 10 or 15 years, you'll basically see a flat line. And the decades before it, lots of spikes, up and down, up and down, up and down. Boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust. And then it gets to 2012, and then it kind of just goes beep, flat. So we all know what a flat line is when it's on a life support machine, don't we? So, you know, that is the economy, really. You know, it's really kind of been on life support for the last 10 or 15 years. And that has been the same predominantly, well, in most of the Western world, in fact. You know, the West, as I keep mentioning, tremendous challenges it faces, tremendous, just to stay relevant in the face of the mighty Chinese economy, you know. for the next couple of days we are going to see a lot of water on this route. The wall was very much waterside in the west, so we will see a lot of water today. In fact, tomorrow I have to get a ferry ride across quite a large body of water where the borderline of the wall used to run through in this area, through water, not on land. So there's only one way for me to cross it, and you can't you can't do it on foot unless you want to add like an extra 40 or 50 kilometers to the route. So I have to take a ferry crossing. So I am currently heading south along the westernmost perimeter of the old West Berlin, along the Berlin Wall Trail, obviously. So I've been heading south from Hennigsdorf for the last 3 or 4 miles, and I will continue heading south for another couple of miles, at which point I'll hang a right and head west for a few miles. I mean, you can see what I mean when I say there is a lot of water in West Berlin, and this is a huge body of water. It's a good couple of miles to that shoreline over there anyway. So, what do we have here? Original guard tower. So that is what used to be here. Yeah, I've seen those photographs online. I always wondered where they actually were. Sometimes when you're doing your research and you're looking at photographs, they're not quite pinpointed to where they actually were taken. So you take, it's been curated properly here. And you have like an information board which tells you exactly where things were. So no amount of research that you do from your home can ever compete with actually coming here. I've just passed through a place called Neuendorf, and I'm now heading through this lovely, quite newish by the looks of things, pine forest. Obviously it's quite new. These are fast growing trees, all pine trees. So I can see much older ones just over there to my right. So all this clearly growing on what was the death strip. So I'm at this point here where I'm about to take my right turn and head inland, west. But you can clearly see the old death strip here, very clearly. You can see how wide it was as well. You could almost see it from space. Again. It is literally like a highway width running around the whole of West Berlin. I mean, it's very well done. You know, these signs are beautifully curated, very helpful. You know, it's almost like, you know, you're doing a through hike, but you're also kind of in some art gallery, contemporary art gallery as well. It does have a very unique feel to it. Really well done. It's really good. After heading south for the last 8 miles or so along the lakeside, I am now striking west. I'm heading west for a few miles. So I'm in an area now where, for some reason, the official Berlin Wall trail deviates slightly from the actual wall itself. Yeah, so the trail is over there, running along there, but here is where the wall ran to my right, along this ridge here. You can see that terrain is slightly higher. They must have their reasons, but I am being a bit sneaky and following the original wall. Yeah, so that ridge that ran along there, you can see this road cuts through it, but that was the edge, the perimeter edge of the death strip. So I will take this unofficial path along the side of it until I reconnect with the official route, which will be down here somewhere. Yeah, so this like bank here, this bank of earth running either side of me, going up there, and also going up there, was one of the walls at least. And this here in front of me is ex-death strip. already that water's edge seems so far behind me, but it's only about a mile back. A different landscape now. No sound of water, no herons. Walking along what is very clearly an ex-service road. There has been a consistent flurry of very light snow so far today, all day so far. They said it was going to stop, but it hasn't stopped. It's just carried on, but it's very light, it's no bother, it's very pretty. Yeah, I'm loving this. It's very dry, light, powdery snow. The good stuff, you know, plenty of grip. Yeah, and I am relishing every moment. Relishing every moment of the day so far. And, you know, what I will say, I haven't seen anybody else who looks like they're doing the trail. Not a soul. I am a solitary walker, and that's fine by me. Yeah, fine by me, no problems. I am more than okay in my own company. Bit of a loner, well, yeah, but you know, most of it comes out of work, just being a workaholic, you know, and being a solo creative worker. It's a very solitary endeavour, being an artist or a writer. You know, you just spend enormous amounts of time on your own, and I have spent unfathomable amounts of time by myself this past 20 years. Just, you know, 100 hours a week. Seeing nobody. It's the life of an artist, I'm afraid. So continue west now, another few miles, and then back to south, heading south, and continuing south for another 4 or 5 miles before turning east again and heading in towards Spandau. Spandau Valley. feel the urge, the overwhelming urge to partake in the ravenous disintegration of a chocolate bar. So I will have a little bit of a break somewhere. I'm about halfway through today. So I'd say it's about 11:30 now. I'll have a little bit of a check. So what that was a little bit of evidence of some above ground Berlin Wall archaeology, and there is some here as well, some remnants of original wall. See there? That's down there in this landscape. So you can imagine a wall running all along this side here. Some sort of marker here as well. Yeah. Oh. Right where I'm standing to my left, all this would have been a wall. One of the walls. Yeah. There's some more there. So it's about 11:30 a.m. now, and I'm coming up to halfway. I've done about 8.5 miles so far, I think. So just under 10 miles to go. Yeah, so there's another one. So, okay, so they're all quite low. These ones are in better condition. So I don't think they were wall. Definitely not. Far too low. But they're definitely original infrastructure, though, and signifying some sort of perimeter, clearly, obviously. So, I mean, as well as not seeing any people, really. I mean, I've seen a couple of people, doing local walks, obviously. I saw a father and son with his sled. But, yeah, like I said, I've not seen anyone else doing the trail. Also, what I haven't seen on this day is any sign of a shop. There's no shops on this section of the trail. So far anyway. I'm sure I will find one later. But yeah, you do need to kind of stock up on snacks and liquids, because you could go for miles without seeing anything or anyone. So, a little note there on my route of day 3. I didn't see much yesterday in day 2, but there was the odd garage that you could dive into in an emergency. An emergency sausage roll. Ugh. Microwaved to your satisfaction. Perfect timing. I think I will use this opportunity to get on my soapbox and have a little break and a chocolate bar. Try not to break my neck going up these steps. So I've just had a little break. Couple of Snickers bars. I just need to try and get down this staircase without cupping or coming a cropper, because that would be bad. No one's going to find me until tomorrow, because I'm in the middle of nowhere here. This is what I was just thinking about when I was having my little water break, is that I am in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around here except beautiful countryside and swans over there attacking each other and acting like moral idiots. I think the thing about swans as well is they're so graceful when they're gliding across the lake, so serene and beautiful, and then they come towards you and they come out of the lake with their horrible legs and feet horrible. I don't know if you can hear those swans having a go at each other. I think they might be scaring their kids away. I think once they get to a certain age, it's time to leave the nest. It's time to go. So parents will literally just abuse their children until they leave. Nature. It's just one of those things, huh? Yeah, I still can't quite articulate how it feels to be walking this route. The question is for today, how I've mentioned how Germany is this kind of futuristic, ultra successful, in my opinion, progressive, liberal, civil society in the 21st century. Would it have been that if it hadn't have been through what it went through, i.e. being divided? I don't know. You think wiser heads would prevail, don't you? It's just a big mess, the 20th century. Gosh, quite unbelievable. Just a massive mess. It's a giant conflict, the 20th century. And yet, as well, so much kind of liberal progress. As well, I think art and creativity is most successful in times of trauma, And creative thinking is at its zenith when things are going kind of south, if you like. But like I said, would this modern, progressive, super successful Germany exist if it hadn't have been through hell? And this is a really quite horrible question, because when you destroy things, there's only one way you can go, and that's up. If you have just rubble, you can only grow. You can't get worse than rubble. You can only go upwards. It's a difficult question. It's a difficult question. I personally think the trauma that this country went through is a key reason why it's so successful and so cool now. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say. It's just horrible. I mean, your eyes don't lie to you. You can feel it. You can feel that this place is doing good and doing good things, and has been doing good things for a long time, and they're reaping the rewards from that. Even now, when things are tough and there's severe challenges, they're so well prepared for it. They're having their kind of financial woes now, and their recession, but they're just so well prepared for something like that. So they'll ride it out and continue going from strength to strength, no doubt in my mind. Wish I could say the same for my country and the United States of America, where I just feel no optimism at all. Some wall down there. Gosh, so grim. Look, it's just such a grim sight, isn't it? It's Erich Honecker, the leader of the GDR. He was so proud of it. He was so proud of the wall. I mean, he thought it was just going to be there forever. One of the most deluded politicians in all history, Erich Honecker. Who's just such a dyed-in-the-wool communist. When you're radicalised to that degree, there's just no reasoning with you. So it is 12:30 and I'm just heading west for another mile or so, and that will be the furthest west my route goes for today anyway. I think Potsdam is a little bit further to the west, southwest, but anyhow, in about another mile and a half I will finish with going west and start heading southeast a bit as well, and I'll begin kind of curving round and heading east towards Spandau. watchtowers of a different kind now guard the ex-death strip. Bird watchers. Much nicer. So I have just headed south and turned a corner south, and I'm coming towards an area called Falkenhagen. I'm not going into it, but I'm quite close to it. It's one of the closer kind of hamlety areas around here. But yeah, it is now south for me for the next kind of 4 miles, I think. And here we have so I now head down here, it seems. So I think Falkenhagen is somewhere over here, but I am making the most of this landscape. This is all about me, because it's probably the last I'm going to see of anything like it for a while, because just ahead is one of the most redeveloped parts of the old death strip, and this huge urban area now that has just been built on top of it. So for the next couple of miles, maybe more even, I think maybe 3 miles, there will be zero evidence that there was ever a wall or a death strip or anything kind of Cold War related. Nothing. I see a house. It's been a while, it has to be said. I haven't seen a house. I can't remember the last time I saw a house. It's been hours. An orange waymarker. I've not seen one for a while. I think because I've kind of deviated off the official trail quite a lot this last hour or so, couple of hours, because I wanted to stick to the death strip, and haven't seen a waymarker for the last, I don't know, 4 miles maybe. So I think I might have strayed quite a way off it. So I've been way off the official trail. I don't know why they deviate quite well. I mean, I've just been walking through farmers' fields, so that's probably the reason. So I have about 5 miles left of today's route. Well, so far, I mean, I can see civilization on the left of me, and I can see civilization on the right of me, but they've kind of left this place, this area, as it was almost. So it is a parkland area, which is a bonus. From the map I was looking at, it looked like all of this area was redeveloped, but it isn't. It's like a little hill, this. I feel like I'm hiking. Oh. I feel. Oh. I'll tell you what. After walking that many miles, 50 miles, that feels like going up Millbreck. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll be walking the 2 miles into Spandau centre later. My legs are feeling quite heavy now, I must confess. So I will rest. I need rest. And I think tomorrow is a similar distance to today, but of the 18 miles I'm doing tomorrow, I think about 2.5 to 3 miles of those miles will be a ferry ride, so not walking. So tomorrow is about 15 miles, I think. Maybe a bit more, not much more though. Ballpark area, 15 miles actual walking. So, a slightly easier day than today and yesterday. So that will be nice, that. Quite looking forward to tomorrow and that ferry ride and getting into Potsdam, another place steeped in history. It's an amazing sculpture. Yeah. onwards. So we're getting quite close to Spandau now. Place where Spandau prison used to be. Rudolf Hess's house. Albert Speer. Many of the Nazis. I think Grand Admiral Dönitz was there for a while. I think they were all there. Sometime. Rudolf Hess was there till late 80s, I think, mid 80s. Died in suspicious circumstances. I don't want to talk about them scoundrels. Google it. Even though they are important context for this walk that I'm doing, and for this wall, they kind of were responsible for it, really. But I have a bit of a beef with Albert Speer. In my opinion, he is like practically the worst Nazi of them all. And you might say, well, Albert Speer, but he apologised. He apologised. He took responsibility. And yes, he did. And got away with murder in the process, in my opinion. It's one thing having a ranting Führer with a Charlie Chaplin moustache and an amphetamine problem. You can deal with someone like that. They're not trying to hide what they are, really. Same thing with like Himmler. I mean, he's so obviously evil, Black uniform, he just looked, when I say we know what the bad guys look like, well, just take a look at him. But with Albert Speer, he kind of gets a free ride, in my opinion. Even in the film Downfall, which is an amazing film, and if you haven't seen Downfall, you ought to have seen it. He's kind of let off the hook a little bit in that. And he's an almost sympathetic character. But to me, he's the worst one of them all, because he is every bit the Nazi the others were, except he was highly educated, cultured, sophisticated, bourgeois, so on and so forth. Someone who should have known better. He had no psychological trauma from being in the First World War, like some of them did. And he just was one of those completely immoral, apolitical figures. A bit like Werner von Braun, who didn't care about anything but their own ambitions and were willing to do a deal with the devil. And did so. At the end of the day, he apologised, but he knew what he was doing. He was basically so clever, and so calculated that he knew he would escape the noose. But in my opinion, he's like the prototype. It's like the prototype Tony Blair, in my opinion. Someone who comes across as very cultured and intelligent and visionary politician, where in fact is just a dirty little scoundrel. Yeah, Falconsea, that's how you pronounce it. Spandau. 4 miles that way. Yeah. Okay. Oh. As I mentioned before, completely redeveloped. No trace at all of any wall infrastructure. All these houses less than 40 years old. Interesting contrast this street is. Everything on the left is old, and everything on the right is new. Leaving the crazy traffic behind. So there is about a mile left of this section. 1 mile and then I'm done for the day. So it's been a very cool section. I've enjoyed it a lot, especially with the snow. I'm feeling a bit achy, so I'm looking forward to a good night's rest. But there's lots of kids out in their sleds having fun. It's nice to see. Next to this little colony, it seems, is where my little walk ends for the day. Just down here is the road, my end point. There's a fade to black coming in a moment. So I won't say Auf Wiedersehen, pet, this time. I will just say Auf Wiedersehen. I'll see you tomorrow.